Hi everyone, this is Jess from the Estevan Public Library, and today we are finger knitting some scarves. For this project you will need a ball of yarn. I'm using one that's fairly thick and is about 100 meters long, and a pair of scissors. I'll be showing you two different ways to finish your scarf today, so let's get started. To start, find the end of your yarn and wrap it around your thumb. Next, we'll weave the yarn in between your fingers, starting at the back of your index finger. So we'll loop around the back, then around the front of the middle, behind the ring finger, and then in front of the pinky. Then we'll go back in the opposite direction. So behind the pinky, in front of the ring, behind the middle, and in front of the index. Next, we'll weave the yarn around a second time so that there's two loops of yarn on each finger. So again, starting behind the index finger, bring it to the front of the middle, behind the ring, and then in front of the pinky. Then we'll wrap around the pinky, in front of the ring, behind the middle, and in front of the index finger. So now you'll have two loops of yarn on your fingers. For the next step, you will need to bring each bottom loop of yarn up over the second loop. So we'll pick this one up and pull it over so that there's only one loop back on your finger. Do it same for this one. That. And so now each finger should only have one loop of yarn on it. And if you turn around to the back, you'll see the start of your scarf. Now we repeat the whole thing over again. So the yarn will go around the middle, behind the ring, and in front of the pinky, wrap around behind it, in front of the ring, behind the middle, and in front of your index finger. Then we'll pull the bottom loop up and over the second loop of yarn. Don't weave the yarn too tightly between your fingers, otherwise it'll be hard to pull off. And then we do the whole process again. Like that. Then you can see your scarf is starting to form. Keep finger knitting until you reach the desired length of your scarf. If you need to quit at any time, loosen each loop just a little bit and gently pull it off your fingers so that you can see where you last left off. So the first scarf we're going to make is an infinity scarf. I made my chain long enough that it wraps around my neck comfortably about 2 times. So now that I reach the end of my chain, I'm going to take my scissors and cut off about 2 inches of yarn. leaving me with a fairly long tail. So now I'll weave the end piece, or the tail, in between my loops and pull them off my fingers as I go. And so now that my tail has been weaved in between my loops, I'm going to gently pull on it and weave it through the loops one more time. To make a knot. That's how you finish the chain. For your infinity scarf, to bring the ends together, I'm going to take one of the tails and weave them in between the two ends. And over, then weave in between this end here, going to do the same with the other end. I'm going to tie a knot with the two tails. Then I'm going to just wrap it around the end a little bit. Make one more knot. Just going to trim off the ends there. And then you have an infinity scarf. Next, we're going to make a plain wrap scarf. To make this, you will need 2 or 3 pieces of knitted rope, about 50 to 60 inches in length. You can make this the same way you did your infinity scarf, but don't tie the ends together just yet. You will also need a long piece of yarn about double in length of your knitted scarf. You can use a different color or the same color of yarn. To start, once you have all of your ropes finished, grab 2 and use the tails to tie them together. Next, grab your string of yarn and fold it in half. Grab the ends and weave them in between the loops of rope, like that. Now we're going to lace them in between the loops of the scarves. Starting at one end, we're going to bring this side over here. Pull it through. We'll bring this side over here, this way. Pull it through. Weave in between so it looks like the laces on a shoe. As you go, gently pull on the string to close the ends together. Keep weaving the string in between each knitted rope until you reach the end. Once you reach the end of your weaving, pull the yarn gently to tighten it together. Make a small knot. And trim the ends off. Go back to both of your ends. I weave my tails in between a little bit of the yarn and trim your tails. You have a plain wrap scarf. And with that, you have your own finger knitted scarves. This is a great project to do as it gets colder. If you'd like to try this at home, you can find the written instructions in the video description below. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this project.